Yo, it's Death for the Cloud Chaser TV, man. We having audio issues on this interview. So what we gonna do is we gonna have him do it from his phone, man. But as you can see, man, they're gonna start the event tonight. Let's get it, people. Give me 1 second while I pull him up on the phone. See if it was working now. Can you hear me?
Me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, see, I got your visual, but I don't have your audio. Let me see something.
Thank you. I clicked on both the audio. Maybe if I sign out, should I sign out? Can you hear me?
Okay, I got you. Good. Got you.
You can hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's what's up. What's good, baby?
What's good, man? We gotta. Oh man, I gotta go from the beginning. Let me come back.
Yeah, let's come back and get it right.
All right. Let me come back. Yo, it's Death for the Cloud Chaser TV, man. We back up in this thing again, man. We got a special guest online, man. Special guest, can you introduce yourself and let them know where they can follow you at?
Yeah, this tragic Khadafi. Yeah?
Yeah, it's a little windy.
Yeah, I was outside. I'm about to step in, man. Stay with me.
Got you.
Yeah, it's tragedy Khadafi intelligent hoodlum, bro.
Exactly, man. This is a big man. Appreciate you even blessing our platform, man. Doing us this favor, man. We really appreciate you.
No doubt, no doubt. Got you. Hold on 1 second.
All right.
Yeah, I'm in the man cave right now. I had to come in here so you don't get all that music in the background. What's good, baby?
Salute, man. So look, man, what we like to do on Death for the Cloud Chaser podcast, man, we like to ask questions. Maybe the other podcasts might have missed, man. And like even going back, man, you going into music at 12 years old. Is at the time when you had Percy Pete as your name?
Now actually my first rap name was Percy, MC Percy. That's my government name. That's my honorable name. But yeah, that's like way back. I was like 12 years old.
12 years old. Okay, so yep. 12 years old, man. Like you running around. Like is this during the time when you was with Marley Marl and Fly Tie and everything, like the whole Juice World, the Juice Crew All Stars?
Well, actually, this is when I was MC Percy. This is before I got enlisted into the Juice Crew. I was actually with a local DJ who later on became famous in his own right, and he would go by the name of DJ Hot Day, who was actually from Queensbridge too. He actually went on to do his own things with Mega and produce some tracks. He actually produced a track on one of Nas's albums as well. But he was actually my first DJ when I was MC Percy before I even was with the Juice Crew.
Gotcha. So when you go from there to the Juice Crew, is that when you change your name?
I changed my name prior to going to the Juice Crew, but shortly after I changed my name, that's when I got with the Juice Crew, because I did a record called Coke Is It, The Tragedy, and that's how I got my name Tragedy. The streets, people in my hood started calling me Tragedy. You know what I mean? So I got Tragedy, got the name Tragedy, and right after that, that's when I got initiated into the famous world-renowned Juice Crew All-Stars.
Dope. Yeah, they definitely all-stars, and it's like with that part of history, a lot of people don't know about the Juice Crew All-Stars, you know, and you was the youngest one, correct?
Yeah, I believe I was the youngest one or close to the youngest, because again, initially Craig G was in the group before I was, and we was around the same age. I think I'm a little younger than him, but you know, I was definitely one of the younger members as well. But it consisted at that time of Roxanne Shante, of course, MC Shan, Biz Markie, Kool G Mac and DJ Polo, of course Marley Marl, and Big Daddy Kane. Later on, what's the name? Master Ace got into the crew as well. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Did you have a relationship with Fredo Anthony Young?
Fredo Anthony Young?
Yeah.
Who's that?
Did you have that's supposed to be Marley Marl's cousin?
Oh, you talking about Fredo?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my man.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, that was my man, of course.
Gotcha. Yeah, man. So, like, when during this time, I know we going like kind of back and forth with the when you was when you was still with the DJ who was that Hot
Day, yep, DJ Hot Day.
And then we're going back and forth with Marley Marl. Like when it came to that, who gave you your first initial start when it came to a record deal?
My first initial start when it came to a record deal was kind of myself. Me and Hot Day, before we even got down with Marley, we put out our own record. We pressed up our own record, and that was called Go Queensbridge, Live from USA. USA was a skating rink in Long Island City, and Hot Day happened to be a DJ there. And we performed the record there live, and we ended up pressing our own record up and serving it and selling it. And it was on Hot Day Records. And it was wild because back then that was unheard of for artists, especially at our age, to press up our own records and put it out independently.
Gotcha. So it was an independent game, because a lot of people will credit the Bay Area, California. So you saying that it was an independent game on the East Coast, even during that time. You talking the 80s, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we definitely talking the 80s, and we talking early mid 80s. What it is that what I think it is that the reason why like the West and the Midwest got accredited for being successful in the independent game more so than artists on this side is because they were forced to. See, we did the independent thing, but we got on quicker with the majors. And in the West Coast in certain areas, they didn't get on as quick, so they had to keep going independent, which in essence was better for them. You know what I'm saying? Because they gained more power and more control and was able to write their own ticket when they finally did get to a major or a major distribution company. You know what I'm saying? But they weren't the first to set it off with that. Nah, that's not true.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I always, when I hear stories, that's why when you just said that, it brought to my attention, especially, we speaking on history. But, even going into history, man, like your whole rap style, like that's how you end up getting with the Juice Crew, correct? All Stars, because of your rap style. Like a lot of people wasn't using big words during that time.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I have to credit that to me learning from like G-Rap, LL, Cool J, and Rakim, and many artists before them. And it wasn't so much that I was using big words. It's just, the way I was raised, I was raised with my mother making sure that I read and making sure that I kept my head in the books too. Even though I was in the street, even though my mother was in the street, she was real strong on me being in the book. So it wasn't so much I was using, to everybody else I was using big words. To me, that was my natural vocabulary.
Right. But during that time though, that style, like even today, they going into what we know and thinking back and looking back, right? We see that your style is still being used to this day.
Hold on a second.
It's still being used to this day. So like do you feel like appreciated when it comes to this?
It's
like
not that I feel I don't feel unappreciated at all. And I get those kind of questions a lot. Like one of the things is this, man. Like those that know, they know my contributions, and people that respect it and understand the art and understand what it took, in terms of me and what I gave to it and what I added on to this culture called hip hop. They recognize me for it. And they, I'm compensated for that and I'm valued. A lot of people pay me homage in certain ways. Some are monetarily and some are just by, major salutes. But those that know, they know. So I don't feel unappreciated. I feel very appreciated. I get a lot of love and I appreciate it. You know what I mean? Like I get love from people, who tell me like it was my first album, Intelligent Hoodlum, that motivated them to go to college and become lawyers and get into politics and become, community activists and social activists, like and go on to, become entrepreneurs and self-employed business people and go into, different business ventures through my music. So that gives me a certain kind of content. That gives me a certain kind of satisfaction to know that I help add on to some type of progression through my music. So I feel great.
Definitely. So when you had like even with your first album, you just spoke on your first album. So like your first album, can you talk about some type of adversity that you had to come across, like that fans might not know about? Like making during the whole process?
Well, one of the first things I went through with my first album that came as a way of adversity to me.
Yeah.
Yo, hold on 1 second. Hold on, my previous album. Hold on 1 second. Yo, can you turn it down a little bit? You know something? Hold on, y'all bear with me. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second, family.
All right.
Hold on, let me get the music down. Yeah, I'm back. Pardon me, man.
No problem.
With the fam right now, you know what I'm saying? We in the cave right now, so we got the music up and all that. But yeah. One of the adversities I went through with the first joint was that I didn't really know the business like that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't understand the business. And me being young, you know what I'm saying? Like I looked to my man as like a big brother, and I put him in a position that, and I realized later that wasn't fair to him because I put too much responsibility on him for my shit, and that's Marley Marl. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's one of the challenges I faced later because early in the game, you know what I'm saying, we just wanted to come out and make music and make records and be nice. We didn't understand the business aspect of this shit. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, once I realized the business aspect and the diversities of that and the complications of that, you know what I'm saying? Then I was faced with the challenge of getting out of the situation and trying to negotiate and create a better advantageous situation for me business-wise. You understand? So now I go from coming home from prison at 18 off a bid. I'm home 6 months. Now I got a major record deal and I got 200,000 in my bank account. At that, I never seen that type of money at that time. But what they don't tell you is once you get that paper, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna have 100 motherfuckers in your pocket. You're gonna have a motherfucker telling you he's your accountant and all he's doing is helping you pay your bills and shit. You know what I'm saying? He's fucking just you putting your money in their bank account for them to pay your bills. You can do that shit on your own. You're gonna have another motherfucker tell you they're your manager, you know what I'm saying? But they in your pocket too. And you're gonna have all these recoupment charges back to the label. And by the time you realize it, you done ran through your first advance. Now you on your second album and you owing back the money on your fucking first album. These are things I didn't know in the game because I looked for Marley to teach me that. And I ain't gonna lie, for a while I had some feelings about that shit. But as I got older and matured in the game and learned the business, I realized that wasn't necessarily his fault. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When you go into a situation, you just like in the streets, you don't jump in the streets and just jump out and just move and circulate in the streets. At least not in my era, you couldn't do that. You had to know what type of fucking lane you was getting into, or else you would get sauteed and fried. The same thing with business. You got to know what type of lane you're getting into. Once you realize the lane you're getting into, then you mark your goal or whatever, and you go at what you go at realistically, knowing what you know, going into it, knowing what you want to get out of it. I didn't know none of that shit. None of that shit. I'm just like, oh shit, I got a deal. I'm just coming home from Elmira.
Right.
I come from the projects. Like I ain't have shit coming up. You know what I'm saying? Like if I had a pair of sneakers, if I had a new pair of sneakers, it was from a cousin, an older cousin or some shit that wore them shits and just gave them to me. Like I didn't know what it's like to have no bread. So now I got this fucking check. When I got that check, I ain't touched that shit for like 2 months. I just kept going to my bank and looking at that shit like, oh shit, like this is real, this mine. So I didn't know about none of that shit. And when that shit, when I got hit with that reality, I was like, damn, like what the fuck is this? Like nobody put me on to this. Nobody told me about all these recoupments and all this fucking interest on this money. Like I ain't borrow this shit. I thought I make the record, you give me the money, it's mine. You know what I'm saying? Like it's my bread. Like, nah, you gotta, it's a whole lot of shit to that. So that was the biggest challenge. And then they just got bigger and bigger and bigger and more shit started coming. You know what I mean? So I had to get out of that situation the best way I could.
I got you. So like moving forward a little bit, when it came to your relationship with Nas during this time, did your relationship with Nas come right after this period or not yet?
Nah, it was before that. I mean, we from the same project, so it's like you may not necessarily know dudes like that at first, but you know them because you're in the same area, so you know them in passing, or they cousin or they brother or they moms or some other shit. It's, they just know each other, but they're like around right after that, like around right at that time, that's when I started getting to know him as him, like, you know what I'm saying, instead of just seeing him around. You know what I mean?
Right.
he started getting recognized as his own, his own force or whatever.
And like far as like on the rap side, because some people would say that your style is like Nas or Nas style is like yours. Have you heard that comparison?
I mean, you're gonna hear that, man. Like, bottom line is this, man. Like, he got his own style. I got my own style. Were our styles influenced by was his style influenced by mine? I would think so. I came before him. You know what I'm saying? Does he have my style? Nah. Just like, I was influenced by Rakim and L and G Rap and them. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna take a little bit from everybody's plate. That's how we learn. That's how this shit move on. Know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
I don't get into all of that. Yo, he got my style shit. Nah, son got his own lane. That's obvious, man. God bless him, man.
Absolutely. So when it comes to the whole, like, because a lot of people, like, in the comments, they right now they want to hear like a really Nas Mobb Deep CNN story. Like, you got a story that you probably never told nobody.
Listen, I'm gonna say this, man. Like, if you want them type of stories, man, you got to get at them. You know what I'm saying? I'm not giving up no personal stories on our personal lives because, you know what I'm saying, that'll be an infringement on my friendship with them brothers, and we don't do that.
100.
You know what I'm saying? I'm doing this interview on my story. Right. And if my story happens to intertwine with them, with their story, and it kind of does at times, then we can get into that. But this tragic story right now.
Yeah. So like
Khadafi.
Yeah, but even like, they're definitely a part of your story. So you meeting Capone and Noriega, and a lot of people will credit the whole deal, their first deal. You was behind it, right? As well as Combat Jack. Can you?
All right. Hold on, real quick. Respectfully, I know where you're going, right?
Right.
If we're gonna talk about my influence and my vision in regards to the war report, I'm with that. If we're gonna talk about, first of all, Combat Jack is not here to defend himself.
Right.
Respectfully, that man passed away. You didn't hear me speak too much about him when they were doing it when he was alive. And I'm not gonna do it in his passing because I just don't breathe like that. You already know the story somewhat of different fragments you heard. I could tell by the way, by what you're asking me. Now, do I agree with what was said? No, I don't, and I voiced that. But I'm not gonna keep rehashing that because I'm in it now and I'm doing shit now. You know what I mean?
Definitely. So, like, we're still in that era, man, but even like with the situation now, like as far as rappers and East Coast, West Coast, you came out with the song LA. Like, how did that come about? Was you just told to be on the verse, or did you
wait, what you asked me?
Like the song LA?
Yeah.
How did it come about? Like, due to the content on the song and West Coast, East Coast situation? Was it like somebody, did they tell you to do it, or was it like your idea?
Nobody tells me to do anything. You know what I'm saying? If somebody give me some good advice I can add on to my life with, then you know what I'm saying, I utilize it. But nobody don't tell me to do nothing. I came up with that idea because they went at New York. I felt like they came over here and just violated, and there was no response to it. Like, that was insane to me. That was crazy. Like, this is New York. Like, this is the mecca of this shit. Like, it's crazy to me. Like, fucking, New York not having a fucking, NBA ring championship is crazy to me. Like, this is New York. Like, hip hop. Like, how are we gonna let somebody just violate this side of things? It's disrespectful. And also, too, I saw it as a business strategy. Nobody was really giving my group the attention I felt they should get, so we could get the bag I felt we should get. So I saw it as an opportunity. I was like, oh, all right, this is perfect. Look at hip hop history. Everybody got on. Anybody who got on through battling, it seemed to work. Karis won. You know what I mean? Roxanne. I mean, we could go on and on and on. You know what I'm saying? Like, through the whole battling thing, a lot of dudes made careers out of that. So I saw it as the perfect opportunity. And I saw it as a way to defend New York. This is New York. I rep this. I'm from here. So I put it together and said, all right, cool. Well, I'm gonna get not only my artists involved, but some of the artists like I respect or whatever. And I reached out to certain people and they backed up. They didn't want to do it. And the people that did do it, obviously Mob and CNN and myself, we went on to make the record and the shit, it came off. It popped. I mean,
Right. No, it's definitely history, man, and legendary. You know what I'm saying? Legendary song. I was actually listening to it before we went live, and so like when it comes to like the industry and just people having
your mic kind of breaking up.
my mic. Give me a second. Yeah, you got me. You hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear
Yeah,
you.
you can hear me.
I was hearing you. I was hearing you before. It was just breaking up. Go ahead.
Yeah, so like when it comes to we talked about bad deals and bad relationships. Like it's always been a situation inside the industry where
The CNN deal. The CNN deal.
no,
All right, look.
not even. Go ahead.
Nah, the CNN deal. I already know what time it is. I do this shit all the time. Bottom line is this, man. I'm not gonna get into all the dynamics of that because I just had a talk with one of the bros about that. We had a real conversation. And this kind of correlates to the question you was going into with Combat Jack, right? And again, I'm not gonna delve too deep into that. One, for a couple reasons. One, I already answered it. And two, there was a lot of miscommunication around that whole situation. And three, how it was presented via Combat Jack, who's not here to defend himself. I'm gonna say this. One, I wasn't even for that deal. Two, like we all said later, that decision to do that deal was based on the time, period, point blank. And that's not necessarily the burden of responsibility for me to carry that because I didn't put no guns to nobody and make them sign nothing. And overall, if you look at the situation, if it was really like that, dudes wouldn't have got out of later situations. So that whole deal, they got taken advantage of in the deal. Nobody forced nobody to do no situation in that deal, man. Everybody went into that, you know what I'm saying, with their eyes open and knowing what they was doing. But what happens is later on when dudes learn their value and see how they can shake it a little better, they look back and they say, damn, well, maybe I shouldn't have did that, or maybe I shouldn't have went into it that way. But at the end of the day, those are my brothers, and you know what I'm saying? They went on to do great things. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like when it came to like now, like I was talking about the bad deals in the industry of some sort, but like was the situation on the Master P as well as Ice Cube situation? Is it still a ongoing situation with you and them?
I have no situation with Ice. What you mean Ice Cube? You said Ice C.
Ice Cube. Ice Cube.
Yeah. I have no situation with Ice Cube. Ice Cube was sent a letter, a cease and desist letter from my attorney's firm, and that letter was basically stating that they were no longer to release, solicit, promote, or market the single Arrest the President. I didn't sue Ice Cube. I basically put a cease to that single because it was my single initially, and he basically took the whole concept and didn't show no honorarium. Now, with Master P, I sued Master P because he didn't just take a single. Master P took the whole album concept. And as you know, any artist and or group, there are certain albums that they will make that identify them as an artist. That basically, marks their foundation in history or in music. or their legacy. And intelligent hoodlum is a major part of my legacy. So for him to take that is like him stealing my identity. You know what I'm saying? I done had dudes like, oh, he's on some money shit. He's just trying to get money now. If somebody takes your fucking identity and fucking uses your credit, they're fucking robbing your identity. Like, you're gonna fucking go at them. It's a similar situation with that album.
And I know that you didn't want to talk about Combat Jack because you know he's not here with us anymore. You know, so RIP to Combat Jack.
Yeah.
But when it comes to Combat Jack in that whole Mano situation, do you give Combat Jack the credit for releasing that to the industry?
Do I give him the credit for what?
Releasing the information that you and Mano had a situation back in the day.
Do I give him the credit? Well, basically, you seen what he did. Like,
right.
He kind of baited him into the question when he didn't even bring it up to talk about it. Hold on 1 second. That's all right. He baited him into that question or answering that question when he wasn't even bringing it up to talk about it. Pardon me, man. We over here celebrating too, so had to move away, my people. I want you to hear me clearly. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like, I thought that was distasteful of Combat Jack. I thought that was very distasteful. But like I said, man, you know, the brother, he passed on. He's not here to defend himself or, you know, rebuttal any statements I make right now. But I did feel he was distasteful for that because, you know, sometimes like the name of your show, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like the name of your show. But
right.
Unfortunately, a lot of times, you know, a lot of people are all about clout chasing. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I felt like our relationship was more than that.
Right.
You know?
I completely understand. But you know, when you heard that, and if you had time to respond because you was incarcerated, correct?
Well, at first the interview that he had with Mano, I believe I was out. I was incarcerated. And I got out shortly after, and I didn't even respond to it. And one of the major reasons why I didn't respond to it at that time was because, how can I say it? Like, where I come from, bro. Hold on, let me say this. The era I come from, right? I come from a different era, and I didn't understand at that time. I didn't understand journalism.
Gotcha.
And had I spoke at that time, I might have said or put myself in a situation that I might not have benefited from at the present time or even later, because I would have just spoke with my feelings. And, you know, it's not always good to do that. In fact, it's a lot of times it's not good to do that. But like I said, I come from an era where, you know, integrity and honor goes a major way. You know what I'm saying? And respect.
Right.
And I felt like when I saw certain things and certain actions, the way people were carrying themselves, I looked at it as an offense and a very strong sign of disrespect. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not into that. But like I said, I realized some things later, and I became aware of things later in terms of sensationalism and what people will do to, you know, the clout chase, and what people will do to create more sensationalism for the sake of what they deem or define as fucking journalism. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I say all that to say, you know, and I'm not dancing around shit because I don't really know how to do that. But I wasn't feeling that because, like I said, you know, one, he baited the dude into the situation, and two, overall it was like, yo, bro, like we supposed to be brothers. Like, me and his personal connection was way deeper than business. You know, that, and a lot of people don't know that. And I was kind of shocked. But like I said, man, you live and learn, and you see where people are at. And and I'm gonna say this sincerely, like I'm thankful now because what it did was it just taught me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. No, I understand. So like when you have like that whole situation with Mayno, y'all it's behind you now, right?
It's definitely behind me, and I assume it's behind him too. I mean, you know, um, you move on from shit, man. Things happen, you move on. It definitely shit like that is never gonna break me or be a factor. In fact, I'm not even gonna talk about that shit anymore. Like you'll be the last person that I even respond to on it. You know what I mean?
100. And like we was just talking about you being incarcerated like that particular time, but can we talk about like the first time you was incarcerated coming off of your success? Like what type of feeling was that? Because a lot of people they will never hear a story like that, you know what I'm saying? Because there's only few people who can actually tell that story.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, unfortunately, I grew up in a time where there were a lot of there were a lot more pitfalls and traps to ensnare us as young black men, especially when you come from a broken home, so to speak, or a dysfunctional home. So when you come from these type of situations and you're basically left to fend for yourself and navigate through life for yourself. But the closest thing to you at that age or at that time is the streets. You get into the streets, and that's never a good thing for us because it wasn't designed for us to be successful. It was designed to destroy us. It was designed to destroy us on whatever side of the spectrum we were on, whether we were hustlers, stick-up kids, thieves, extortionists, whatever side of the game you fell on or you occupied or functioned on, it was in place to ultimately destroy you. So I got caught up in things at a young age, and I had to pay the consequences to society for it. When I did my first bid, it was a little different because when you're young, you basically got time, but when you get older, it's a little different. You know what I'm saying? And you're facing more ramifications and more in-depth consequences. You know what I'm saying? That affect your life and the lives of your families and your loved ones. You know what I'm saying? So, I say that to say, like, the older you get, the more the shit hurts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. No doubt. That's definitely something. And then like, people they come in on your alleged drug use. Was this an issue why you had got incarcerated?
Nah, man. I mean, that me fucking with drugs and all that had nothing to do with. Actually, I was involved with some shit in the street that I shouldn't have been. I should have been cut ties with, and I got caught up in a situation, and I had to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? I had to be accountable for it. You know what I'm saying? In terms of drug use, I don't know what that's about, but you know what I mean? I was definitely I definitely had a hand in the streets, so to speak.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And then I don't want to keep you long, man. I appreciate you even doing this interview with us. I know we had someone ask us some questions about Sharm the Worm.
Oh yeah, man. Like Sharm the Worm's like a little brother to me. Unfortunately, he's down right now. He's incarcerated, but he's taking that time to better himself and strengthen himself. Like even and I'm very proud of him. You know what I'm saying? He's actually working on. I don't know if I'm speaking on this prematurely. I hope not, but I know that he's working on a book, And based on his life story, I know it's going to be a very epic and interesting work of art and piece of work. And I'm excited to hear about it and read it. Like I said, very, very intelligent young man, good brother, but just got caught up in unfortunate situations that I feel he's, doing excessive time for. Um, but like I said, he's bettering himself and he's taking that time to advance himself, the best way he can. And, same way, such as myself on the opposite side of the spectrum. I'm out here bettering myself, living clean, living healthy, taking care of myself, becoming more health conscious, what I'm saying, and being more active and trying to, help artists and help young people and be more, be more active in the community and social hip hop as well.
Okay, cool. And do you want to we got a caller, we got Blizz on the line. You want to take a couple of questions from outside of the platform?
Yeah, who's on the phone?
Blizz.
Yeah.
Blizz, where you from, brother?
East New York, Brooklyn.
Peace,
Lord.
You got any questions for the brother?
Yeah, I deal with a lot of youths. I deal with a lot of young fathers. My platform is prevention as far as keeping them up out of the penal institution. Can you explain what was your first day like in the penal institution and what was your last days like?
My first days in the penal institution was a lot of me observing, man, and just reflecting on, just to keep it green with you, just reflecting on how the fuck did I get here. But like I said, man, if anyone knows a little bit about my story or my history, I've been in prison a couple times. But the first time when I was younger, there was definitely fear there, but it was more fear of the unknown. Like I went to prison when I was, in the 80s when shit was a lot crazier. You know what I mean? And
that's what the kids need to know. They need to understand that first experience from that era, from that time period when the island was the island, when up north was up north.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They need to know because they're not getting it from credible sources right now.
I mean,
that first day in prison, going through the island, going through the system, you know what I'm saying? What was, other than fear, what did you observe that these kids could use to keep them up out of that situation?
For one, what I observed with a lot of young people today is that something that's totally different from when I was young is that I can't speak for everybody's situation, but when I look at some of these younger people today, they're looking around at their situation. Some of them like have their parents at home and have good family situations and things like that. No family's perfect, but some of them have more of a foundation, or a lot more of a foundation in terms of a family structure than I ever. One thing I see that they lack that I had, even when I had like the broken of broken homes, I had hope. And no matter what, I focused on the fact that I wanted to be an MC and I wanted to be one of the best at what I did, and I love music. And that kept me, honestly, that saved my life. And what I see with a lot of young people today is that they don't have hope, and they just kind of like gave up in a sense within themselves. And that's crazy. And anytime you do that, you're going to have a I don't give a fuck type of mentality towards the world and ultimately towards yourself. And you're going to end up in fucked up shit like that. So to me, like one of the main things in keeping our young people out of prison is not just giving them something to do. Like a lot of people, the kids need something to do. Yeah, they need something to do, but they all need things to do that cater to what they want and cater to what they dream and what they have passion for. And it seemed like not enough of us is taking the time out for our young people to do that.
Yeah, I definitely hear that. But what is the deterrent? Because we know we're dealing with a population that really is not listening to someone you would consider an old timer, OG, or been around for a long time. So what would you give them from your experience that would have a deterrent effect on them, as far as what you witnessed and the emotions that came with
I
what you
mean,
was witnessing during that
I mean,
time?
I think I know where you're coming from. Well, I can't. I used to feel like that. Like, they not respecting a lot of OGs. But to me, is what it is with that type of thing is that a lot of them see through the bullshit too, and they don't fuck with a lot of OGs. And in that sense, it's not a difference. And when I was coming up, when you had dudes coming in the name of God, body, and but they wasn't true and living. The same dudes coming in the name of God was giving you a pack of crack to sell and trying to put a gun in your hand, and send you on a suicide mission because they knew if you got caught, you wouldn't do as much time, and you were easy to manipulate and influence. You know what I'm saying? And that's the same type of recycling going on now, where a lot of the young people, they don't respect the OGs because they see through the bullshit, and you can't just come with an OG badge without putting that work in terms of being relatable and relating to the youth. You can't just come like, yo, I'm the OG and pull up. They don't respect that, and you know what? You can't blame them. They're not supposed to respect that. Respect is earned. You know what I'm saying? It ain't just given. So I don't really jack the fact that a lot of young people don't respect the OGs. I know a lot of young people that call me on a regular basis for my advice. They just real with their shit, and you know what I'm saying. They not taking no $3 bill shit. They want real organic shit.
Exactly, and that organic shit has to be coming from, like you said, a real honest place. So the transparency effect of what you went through,
Yeah.
Rikers Island, drug game, whether it was consuming drugs, whether it was hustling drugs. You know what I'm saying? Did anything in that industry kind of encourage your actions in that manner?
Anything you do is gonna shape how you move. You know what I'm saying? Whether that be for a positive or for a negative. I mean, definitely a lot of my experiences caused me to raise my awareness. Shit is real, like, and once you raise your awareness, you get to see things from a different angle. And like when I went through the system and went through the streets at a certain degree, hold on one second. Went through the streets at a certain degree, whether that been surviving the streets, hustling, or doing whatever I had to do out there to win, I learned, and I learned in different ways that, you know, ultimately this is not going to be anything good. Ultimately, all this is going to do is take from me. And ultimately, in the end, it could take my life, like I seen it do with a lot of my friends and brothers that I grew up with. You know what I'm saying? And when you start looking at that more and more, even me, as hard-headed as I was or am, I had to look at that because I started to age and get older and make children and families, and now I'm watching and seeing how precious time is, and it changes you. And a person shouldn't have to get to that point to recognize when it's time to change for the better within their lives. You know what I'm saying? But I don't make excuses for myself because I am who I am and I am what I am, and I love myself and I know I'm blessed. You know what I'm saying? And I know, that's why you're asking me these type of questions, because we both know that I'm one of the few people still in this culture, in this business, in this game.
Right.
That
Like I said, you got 3 decades in the game. right? You know, that 3 decades, you know, in between the streets and prison, there was a lot of experiences that people can, you know, learn from. You know what I'm saying? Would you on the island, did you witness people hanging up, committing suicide? You witness people getting cut.
All type of stuff. Listen, all type of stuff. The first time I went up north, one of the dudes that I went up with on the bus, he got raped. You know what I'm saying?
This is what I'm talking about.
And that shit was crazy to me. That shit was crazy to me. It affect that shit. Yo, the only way I can explain that shit is like, I don't know if anybody out there or yourself has ever been shot or stabbed. Like, I got shot a few times. I got stabbed. And the first time I got stabbed and like the knife, the tip of the blade went in my bone. And it paralyzed me, my whole body, because what I learned later what that was shock. And if I could describe when I found out that the dude got raped, the kid I was, went up north with, it was like that same type of feeling. It paralyzed me. It shocked me. And I was like, oh shit. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of saw it coming because, the way he responded. So one of the things that it taught me within that process early was, you always got to keep your feelings sacred and control your shit, because he was scared and he kept crying. And I was like, yo, man, you don't need to do that right now. Like, you bugging. Like, just my common sense was like, if any of these lions see that weakness, they're going to go in for the kill. You know what I'm saying? And that was just based off of like stories I heard coming up and shit, because I had never been up north yet. But once I didn't witness it happen to him, but once I found out what happened, it's like, it's one thing to hear stories, and then it's another thing to be, close to it and take it in, and you like, oh shit, like, yo, this shit is real. Know what I'm saying? So that was deep.
And was the effect even more impactful that it was 2 black men, one abusing the next one? And do you think it would have happened if it was in the street, if the conditions was different, if he would have never went to prison? You think he would have ever got handled in that manner? You think you froze up? He might be in a bad spot because he froze.
Yeah, I think you froze up, people. At the end of the day, we appreciate him for blessing our platform. We got a lot of information, some stuff that y'all definitely gonna have to re-listen to this episode, and you'll be able to, you'll end up understanding a lot of the questions why I was asking them, and if you do some research on him, you'll see why I asked him. But with that being said, man, we appreciate y'all tuning in, man. It's definitely the Cloud Chaser TV, man. Y'all share this on all platforms, man. We're gonna cut out the first few minutes when there was no audio, and we're gonna go from there, man. Salute, man. We appreciate you, man. And it's definitely the Cloud Chaser TV, man.